Well, I bet you weren't expecting to see Momotarou again so soon. Around this time, Hudson was attempting to turn the Japanese folklore into the company mascot. They're going to have much greater success with a different character in that role in the near future, but they make a lot of Momotarou games, and Momotarou Katsugeki is the first action game they made based on him. The Katsugeki of the title generally refers to action as a genre, like action film, so that's actually kind of a generic title. The Momotarou half of the title refers to a popular bit of folklore. Momotarou was a boy that an old childless couple found inside a giant peach, and Momotarou took it upon himself to go kill a bunch of ogres. Hudson has already made an RPG based on this story, which got a PC Engine version just 2 months prior, and 2 board games so far, which I will not speak about. Longtime viewers of this channel know why. Momotarou Katsugeki follows the same story, but it also mixes in a bunch of other Japanese legends. If you pay attention, you'll see Princess Kaguya of the Moon, Toru Urashima, Kintaro, and a lot more. Mostly they'll be manning the shops in town, but there are references to them throughout the game. Technically, the game takes place across 8 stages, but these stages are long. If you're not speedrunning them, then it'll probably take you 15 to 20 minutes to complete one, even the first stage. When you start playing Momotarou Katsugeki, you have an important decision right off the bat, and that's what difficulty you're going to choose. Now, I remembered the game being relatively easy, and in fact it has a reputation for being easy in Japan, so I chose to play it on hard mode. This was a bad decision. The differences between the 3 difficulty levels are the maximum length of your health bar, hard mode has less than half the health, what you lose when you die, on hard mode you lose half your cash and don't go back to full health, and how much energy health recovery items restore, and of course on hard mode that's barely anything. There are certain points in the game where avoiding damage is nearly impossible, and so those hard mode limitations become truly hellish. Oh, and if you manage to beat the game on hard mode, there is an extra hard mode that becomes unlocked. You know, just in case you are finding things to be too easy. After you select your difficulty, you've got a short little introductory stage where you jump over poop. You'll get a reward based on how long it takes you to reach the end, though if you go too fast, then they decide you don't need that much help. Okay, finally you're in the proper game, and the first thing you'll come across is a town, which reveals the actual nature of Momotarou Katsugeki. This is the Peach Boy version of Ganbare Goemon. In fact, I'd say it's closer to the 16-bit versions of Goemon, except the first of those won't be released for another year. Okay, the real point of reference here is Wonder Boy and Monsterland, but having towns in between side-scrolling stages where you can chat with the inhabitants, take part in minigames, and purchase consumables to use on the stages, well, that's closer to Goemon than it is to Wonder Boy. What is like Wonder Boy are the shops where you can purchase armor and weapon upgrades. Every time you purchase one, the inventory switches out to the next 2 more powerful upgrades. There's a weapon shop just inside that first town, so you'll probably want to grind up a little bit of cash to buy your first improved sword before you move on. If you find a gambling den, that's a really fast way to make money, since it'll require you to guess if the dice will be even or odd, and if you're right, you double your cash. Of course, if you're wrong, you have your cash, but there's a trick. This game isn't actually random, but I'll leave it to you to figure out the trick to this one. In later towns, you can purchase armor, which reduces the damage you take. Without armor, any hit does 1 full peach of damage, and with it, you start seeing a bit more variation. The golden peaches on the right-hand side represent the number of times that you can activate special abilities. Initially, the only one you can get is to warp back to different locations, which have been marked by the Jinzo statues. But after you get about halfway through the game, you start picking up abilities from Momotarou's animal companions that can help you deal with the ogres that you're fighting. Regardless of what sword you have, Momotarou always fires a beam out of it when you press button 2. You don't even have to be at full health to shoot that. If there's one problem with that sword, it's that you can't crouch and attack with it, because if you're crouching and press button 2, then you drop through the floor. I don't know why it wasn't down and jump to do that. That's just the way the game works. If you press the start button, then you have the option to use items or your magic abilities. Momotarou doesn't use anything when he picks it up. Instead, he carries it around with him. There's food that you eat to restore health, but also items that let you fart an extra attack when you swing your sword, make your beam more powerful, or will make you invulnerable for a short time. You can buy these at shops in town, or find them in chests that you find scattered throughout the side-scrolling areas. There's one more aspect of the gameplay to be aware of, and that's how you can jump on enemies' heads. Now, it doesn't hurt them, but you can walk across most enemies. This is sometimes useful on stages, and absolutely vital for handling bosses. You won't be able to avoid their attacks or charges unless you land on top of them. When you get a game over, you're given a password, though you can also save your progress to the Ten no Koe 2 memory bank. The password takes you back to the start of the entire region. As I mentioned, these can be pretty long. Still, you retain your inventory, so if you've been saving your cash and buying your upgrades, then it's not as much of a setback. We're not going to see another Momotarou action game on the PC Engine, but there are some follow-ups. There are 2 Momotarou Dengeki games on the Game Boy, and both of these are based on Momotarou Katsugeki, so if you enjoy this one, there's at least 2 more games out there. Japanese PC Engine fans regard Momotarou Katsugeki as one of the better games on the platform. A lot of people happy with its visual style and accessibility. And I happen to like Momotarou Katsugeki quite a bit. Though I will say that if you're recording footage of it and remember the game as being really easy, don't just skip up to the hardest difficulty level. I got really beat up by some of these areas. The game also expects you to do quite a bit of grinding. It goes fast, and if you learn the trick to always win at gambling, then it goes even faster. But walking back and forth for a few minutes so you can buy your next sword or armor isn't a lot of fun. Still, it's a good game. Definitely the most approachable of Hudson's Momotarou series. Give this one a shot.